think when we do something like that?
What's up, fight fans? You're watching The Combat Connection, and I'm your host, Brett Cagle, joined as always by Eddie Law. And we've got a loaded show for you guys today. It is UFC 322 Fight Week, and we have a pay-per-view to break down. But first, we have to talk about the fight card from last weekend. Gabriel Bonfim versus Randy Brown. Me and Eddie both went with Gabriel Bonfim, and he gets it done by knockout. Eddie, how impressed were you with the Brazilian prospect?
As expected, right? Like I think we all kind of figured that was going to happen. Now the knockout was pretty nice, right? But like as soon as he came out with those leg kicks and shit, and Randy Brown started feeling it, like you knew that was coming, right? Yeah. Now, did you think it was early? Because Randy Brown thought it was early.
So the way his head snapped back off the ground, I thought that was nasty. So, I mean, when you see something like that, it doesn't look like he has full control of his body. The knee from the clinch was devastating. He never saw it coming. One of the things, though, Eddie, is I thought at first we might have had a double knockdown because Gabriel had fallen himself, but that was a slip, obviously, from the knee, just losing balance. I didn't think it was an early stoppage. What did you think?
No, not at all. No. Randy got up and he was like, "Oh, what the fuck," and all this stuff. But nah, dog, he hit him, and you can see he was asleep on the way down the ref side, hits the back of his head, and you kind of already knew concussion's coming. Yep. And then it woke him up, and that's all that was. Dude. There was nothing bad about it, nothing crazy. Let's just relax and move on.
And one of the things about the last matchup, Eddie, is we've talked about it with Randy Brown, right? Last week, he said he's always the bridesmaids, never the bride. He gets into these matchups and he can't get himself into the top 10, top 5, number one contender type upper echelon matchups. He's really struggled with when he was going against Della and Maddalena, who we're going to talk about later in the show. He got subbed by him, and a similar situation kind of happened, got finished. What do you make of Randy Brown? Were you disappointed thinking that maybe this was, his time to step up and show what he has? I'm really impressed with Gabriel Bonfim. I think he's a legit guy. So I think Randy Brown still hangs around in the division somewhere, but you got to be disappointed with the potential this guy's had and how high people have been on him for so many years.
Is it just me that he fight like he didn't do any game planning whatsoever? Like he didn't even watch a fight, nothing. Because leg kicks come out. Leg kicks are coming from Bonfim. I know leg kicks are coming from Bonfim. Fucking the world knows Bonfim's going to leg kick the shit out of him. And this dude just didn't even check any until it started hurting too much. Like that's just, it's low IQ. I hate that fucking phrase. Here's low fight IQ. But goddamn, that was the dumbest shit I've seen in a long time. Like he kicked me in the calf. Yeah, okay, kick me in the calf. All right. And immediately after the second one, like he fucking started lifting his leg, and I'm like, all right, dude, you should have known this was coming. You didn't even plan for this. So we think he was gonna not. You were gonna just catch him with the right hand? No. This is like Bonfim's not gonna kick and stay in front of you. Bonfim's going to kick, change the angle. And Randy Brown Randy, change camps, dog. It is not working where you're at. Go somewhere where they actually game plan for opponents and see if it works there. Otherwise, just get used to being just outside the circle and get your checks, get your money, and then, we'll forget about you because you didn't do anything of any significance. And that's not a diss. That's just legitimate, malpractice either on his end or his coach's end.
Yeah, I think so too. You got to make an adjustment at some point. And if you keep getting to these matchups based off your talent, like he's better than some of these guys, right? Like he gets into matchups where he's 6'3", he's better on the ground, he's better on the feet. But when he gets against these guys like Bonfim and Della Maddalena, and some of the, earlier in his career when he was losing in these matchups too, it's like you're going to have to start making adjustments here. You can't keep seeing the same Randy Brown that we saw at 26, 27, and now you're 33, 34. So for Gabriel Bonfim, though, I was really impressed with his skills, Eddie. On the feet, we haven't really seen this proficiency with his striking. We know him as a really good grappler. Nicholas Dalby was the first guy to go in there and test him and take his 0. But since then, he has really gone on a streak and looked like a completely different fighter. What do you think is the potential for Gabriel Bonfim in this division?
Oh man, dude, he's got all kinds of potential. Like, it's not that he can't. But first of all, we don't really know what he's gonna do yet, right? I don't think we can really sit here and be like, oh, we know he's gonna do this, he can do this and that and the other. He needs the opportunity to show that he can do it. Now, with this win over Randy Brown, he just earned himself, in my mind, a top 10 fight, right? Because Randy's always been one of those guys that hangs around, gets dangerous, loses, goes on a run, loses again. But he's still one of those guys you can consider being one of the gatekeepers in the division. So give him a top 10 fight. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm right behind you. I think a step up in competition is the right move for Gabriel Bonfim. But Eddie, we got a lot to talk about on this show, including a massive UFC 322 pay-per-view card that might be the deepest card of the year. But Eddie, Joseph Morales, a guy you've been high on since The Ultimate Fighter, gets it done again. 2-0 in his UFC career to start since coming off The Ultimate Fighter. sub this time around. And Eddie, he was the betting favorite 4.5 to 1 coming in here, kind of favored to get the win. But I was impressed with his submission victory, and he did exactly what we expected him to do, and the odds makers expected him to do.
100%. There was no question in my mind he was going to win this fight. I had him by anything. I didn't even care. I forgot if I picked him by decision, and I probably did. But this is the man on a mission. Like, he's finally, if you compare his first run in the UFC to now, he is no longer the deer in headlights guy. He came in knowing what he wants to do. Right? A lot of these guys get to the UFC and their goal is to get to the UFC, and then they go, all right, I'm here. Now what? Right? He had that. It bit him in the ass, had to go do his thing, had to win the Ultimate Fighter to get back into the UFC, and now he's like, okay, I know I can do this. I know I can win. I want that, and he's going to go for it. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a great win for him. Now, were you surprised that he did get a co-main event slot here? There were a lot of guys and women who were ranked fighters and longer tenured fighters. Were you surprised they put him in that spotlight versus a guy like Matt Schnell in the co-main event?
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I mean, how you have two women's fights in the prelims of an Apex card, that are ranked? That is ridiculous. They should have been at least one of them should have been main card, right? But I digress. Like, it's an Apex card. We don't expect anything good out of an Apex card, really. This one ended up delivering pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. We got a lot of fights to talk about. Many finishes on this Apex card. Great win by Joseph Morales last time out. Matt Schnell, I don't know if he's going to get his walking papers, but he has certainly been finished, a significant amount of times here at 125 pounds. Everybody's going to remember him for that fight of the year he put on there a few years ago. But tough road here recently for Matt Schnell. But moving on, we had Uros Medic get a KO win over Muslim Salikhov. Eddie, this was impressive. The doctor, they call him Uros Medic, dispatching the Sandu world champion Muslim Salikhov in the first round in a little over a minute. This guy is one of the best strikers, in my opinion, in this entire weight division. Very technical, very creative. He has knees, elbows, spinning techniques. What did you make of this victory from him over a guy who is very experienced in Salikhov and normally can keep himself, out of trouble on the feet? Yeah,
Uros is a complete fighter. He just has really shitty luck sometimes, right? And he just gets caught a lot. But I think he's going to start showing. I think he's going to go a run here. Now, for Salikhov, he looked like he was finally moving like a 40-year-old. He didn't look like a guy that's, that we saw last few fights, get finishes and wins and all that. And so wasn't surprised that Uros winning like the way he did. Just the fact that he did it like early on was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I thought so too. The time, it was like a minute. Nobody's getting rid of Salikhov in a minute, right? He just went out there to take care of business, like he was in the doctor's office doing his job, But for Uros Medic, welterweight, this is a weight class I think he can have a lot of good fights, but I haven't seen him against a grappler, Eddie. The guys that I was talking to, some of my friends who are, mixed martial arts fans, I was telling them this guy is very good on the feet, but we haven't seen him necessarily tested versus an elite grappler yet. Do you think that is who we see him go up against next?
Might as well. I mean, he's not ready for a title shot anyway, so it's not like we're worried about him, continuing to win everything. Might as well see what we got. Put him against a good grappler that will get him down and will put him in a shit position, and let's see Uros either avoid the ground or be able to defend the ground game and get back to his feet.
Yeah, I think so too. Great win for him over Muslim Salikhov, the savvy veteran. Eddie, we got to move down here to Chris Padilla, who was the underdog on the card, who upset Ismael Bonfim by TKO. Eddie, what do you think about Chris Padilla? He went in there, took care of it. He was too physically strong, in my opinion, for Bonfim. Bonfim couldn't get the fight to the ground, where he's very good at jiu-jitsu. And Chris Padilla really did whatever he wanted from a physical standpoint. It wasn't like Bonfim was backing him down. Chris Padilla was on the aggressive the entire fight. What did you make from Chris? And as a betting underdog, I thought he looked really good.
Yeah, Ismael lost that fight on Thursday night. He lost. That fight was lost already. He had no chance, zero chance, and the weight cut was terrible. The missing weight was pretty bad. Now Chris got a little bit extra coin off of it, which is great, and the win on top of it, bonus and not the bonus, but the win bonus and everything. But not surprised at all that it went down the way it did. Not surprised Chris won. Not surprised Ismael is clearly needing to change a lot of things up in his lifestyle in order to be able to make that weight or just move up, dog. Because there's no way you should not be missing by that freaking much, but. And I want to get your thoughts on this. What really bothered me was Chris Padilla had to beg for a bonus.
That's the next thing out of my mouth to you, man. He sits there and he puts on a great performance against a guy they're highly propping up. Like they were talking about the Bonfim brothers, like the Brazilian Diaz brothers, right? And now, I think it's a little different. Ismael, in my opinion, is not as good as Gabriel is, and it's just the reality of the situation. Matt Hughes' brother competed in mixed martial arts as well. He wasn't Matt Hughes, so it's just the reality of what it is. Now, Ismael Bonfim is a good fighter, but for Chris Padilla, someone who has had multiple fights in this promotion, to sit there and have to beg for a bonus when he went out there and dispatched a guy who you're as a promotion high on, I don't like it. And, for the UFC to not know some of the personal situations that he's got going on, he's got to go out there and beg on national television, and he still doesn't get it, Eddie. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Did it rub you the wrong way a little bit?
What, did he ask for it, or did he didn't get
not it? Only that they didn't know that he was going through but he asked for it publicly, and he still didn't get it.
Yeah, that here's the thing, like, if you put the entire thing, all the view on it, okay, and I'm talking about days after and the situation leading up to, you just signed a $7.7 billion deal. Billion with a freaking B, $1 billion deal with Paramount Plus for your next year, okay? You hate, if you're Dana White, and I'm talking about Dana White, you're Dana White, you hate hearing about fighter pay. Hate it, right? Clearly, you made it fucking obvious, okay? And on top of that, this motherfucker gonna say, what did he say? I forgot what show he was on, but he was like, we know some of these guys that, they get a bunch of money, like Conor made his money and he's, he's gone basically, and Habib made his money and he's gone. It's like, what are you telling us, Dana? You want to make sure these guys are underpaid so they have to keep fighting for you just to freaking survive, just to get his mom out of a shit spot, just to get his family out of a shit spot. Chris was fucking crying in the post-fight press conference at the Apex in the media room because the situation is that damn bad. And Chris Padilla doesn't cry. He doesn't cry about yeah. He doesn't cry, but he also doesn't cry about situations. Okay, for a man that tough, a professional fighter, a man like Chris Padilla, to tear up and cry in the post fight because he's trying to get his mother out of a shit spot, his family out of shit spots, and bring him up, and he just put that performance on for you against the guy that missed all that weight. He still took the fight. How many fighters say no? A lot. He still took the fight. He finished the guy. And you, first of all, you can't even be bothered to say anything about it, Dana. You haven't bothered to be at an Apex card in fucking forever. And you live in Vegas, who you call the best city in the world, but you're never there. You're always in freaking Abu Dhabi. Like, what the hell, dude? So it's embarrassing. It should be embarrassing for Dana White. He should be embarrassed shitless about this, right? But he's not, because end of the day, he can say all the things he wants to about, I love this and that, and the fighters and this and whatever, and look at all the money those power slap guys are making. We know better. This is all bullshit. And Chris Padilla putting that out like that, Dana should have been like, no, give that man a bonus. At the very least that. Okay. But every fighter just saw that. Every single fighter just saw that. They're all going to be like, do I really want to do this as a career? Like, I love doing it, but it's not going to, I can't get anything out of this. Maybe I'm better out going to do something else.
Exactly. And then you see guys like Zabit Magomedsharipov, who we think is
perfect example.
Going to be one of the best that we've ever seen talent-wise. And he goes and becomes a doctor because he can sit in an office and make a couple $100,000 a year, and that's what he's going to make in the UFC for the contract that he was on. He doesn't have to risk his life. Dude, I think it's a pretty easy decision when the pay is at this point. But Eddie, when it comes in January and they do get that $7.7 billion deal, if we still see this shit after they've got the $7.7 billion deal and fighter pay is still not increased, we got people crying because their moms are still in the hood. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I just hope that money gets distributed properly when that new deal comes in January. And I just have no hope that is actually what's going to happen. But
it's not going to happen. It's not going to fucking happen. These guys, and I don't even, it's this old fucking mindset that everybody has. The old mindset in the office, like, COVID happens, whatever you think of it, whether you agree how everything got handled or not, I do not care. Because what happened is a lot of people say, hey, look, I'd rather stay home because we work remote. Cool. Right. But then you had a bunch of these geezer assholes that run these companies go, no, you need to get back in the office. You got to get back in the office. That dumb motherfucker. Like, shit was working way better without the office shit. It's the same thing. It's this old thinking. Dana White likes to shit on Bob Arum. Motherfucker's becoming Bob Arum. He's becoming a Bob Arum. And very slowly, he don't see it or he don't care. I do not for 1 second think these people, look, when you got deep pockets, you're not looking around to see who's on the corner homeless. You don't care. You're barely even looking around. You're just living life as a rich person. It is what it is. And again, it's not his fault that he's got money. Good for Dana. He built it up. Hey, hell yeah, still the best promoter to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see stuff like this, man, Dana was a doorman. He was a doorman in a hotel. All right. Dana, if you can't relate to this, you are far gone, my guy. Far gone.
Yeah. I think so too. You said it real well, Eddie. But we do have to talk about one more matchup before we move on to news and the UFC 322 predictions. Christian Leroy Duncan, Eddie, he was our underdog of the week last week. We called this Marco Tulio. We said this stylistically played into Christian Leroy Duncan. Tulio comes forward. He's an aggressive striker, looks for the knockout. But Christian Leroy Duncan plays that matador game, moving in and out of distance with his creative techniques better than anybody in the game, Eddie. And he hit him with a spinning back fist, knocked him down, and got back up. And the follow-up shots were just vicious. Sat him down, and then some vicious ground and pound there before I believe Mark Smith came in and made a stoppage. Eddie, this was the biggest win, in my opinion, of CDL's or CLD's career. He showed how technically good he is against these guys like the Paulo Costas and the Tulios and these aggressive strikers in this division. I think that he's going to have a significant advantage. This is the best I've seen him. And I think moving forward, he's a guy with a lot of potential we need to look out for.
Dude, if CLD just gets me a couple more finishes, I don't see how you don't start talking about him. Honestly, like the problem with him is that he doesn't put on these kind of performances very often, right? He likes to play it technical and safe, and I get it. You don't want you want to win the fight, right? But this was a great performance. And I know I made the joke about if I'm Marco Tulio, how do I get out of bed when I leave Norma Dumont and go train?
Yeah.
Total joke. I got a little bit of flack for that one. I was joking. I'm just saying, but yeah. But here's the thing about him is Marco Tulio. This is what happens when guys get overconfident, right? Now, I'm not saying don't be confident. Absolutely be confident in your skill set. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you become overconfident, you either skip steps, and I'm not saying in training, maybe in training, I don't know, in the fight, you either skip steps, okay, or you think you can take a shot that you really can't. And then you don't see things coming and you get cracked the way CLD got him. So incredible win for CLD. I want to see that man get put in a much tougher fight next up. And let's see what we got. Like, give him, I don't even know who to give him. Give him someone tough that's going to give him a war and tell him, you knock this dude out. Main card, London.
Shar Magomedov, who's he up with next? If he's not booked, he might be booked, but if not, I'd like to see that one.
When's the next Abu Dhabi card? That motherfucker don't fight anywhere else.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would love it.
Yeah, I think that's a decent one. But for Christian Leroy Duncan, I think he's one of the best strikers right now in all of Europe and very, very technical on the feet and somebody we're going to have to look out for moving forward. But fight fans, we do have some news before we get into the UFC 322 pay-per-view. There was a big win from Muhammad Mokaev over the weekend. Over the last week or two, he had a knockout by head kick. Eddie, do you think there's any chance outside shot that he gets back into the UFC given the flyweight standings and him, continuing to pick up wins? I think he had a win over there in Brave as well recently. So, do you think he can get back in?
Hang on. Let me look up his record right here. Muhammad Mokaev, right?
Still undefeated. Yep.
Muhammad Mokaev, the undefeated guy, the guy that pissed off the matchmakers, basically pissed off the guy signs his checks, pissed him off, not just irritated him. Not just, whatever, pissed him off. Yeah, that dude, no, he's going to have a really hard time getting. I don't say he won't ever get in, but if you give me a choice between a guy that fights, even if he just wins by decision, he wrestles and everything, but he fights, right? And he just does his job, or a guy that's a pain in the ass just to get in the freaking cage, I'd rather take the guys that's reliable. You know what I mean? Let PFL sign Mokaev.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
They haven't expanded and moved into that 125-pound division for whatever reason. I think they could put him and Sergio Pettis in there and have a pretty entertaining fight.
Yeah, make him a 35er. Make him a 35er.
Yeah,
he can do 35.
Exactly.
He can do 35, no problem. He can do 35, no problem, and win. I don't see how Mokaev doesn't win at 35.
No, I don't either, especially against the guys they have at 135 on the roster currently. But Eddie, there was a Dana White interview here recently where a quote came out where he said something like, for all the guys that are talking shit online, Mark Zuckerberg could handle you. Basically that Mark Zuckerberg is a tough guy now because he does jiu-jitsu. Eddie, there's the Derek Moneybergs, there's the Zuckerbergs, and then there's the guys who would go to the gym and are doing this 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and also working and supporting a family. Where do you think Zuckerberg is here standing? Like, I don't think this guy's a great athlete. Dana's saying he's a great. I think this guy takes steroids. He's 40 years old, and he has the best, training that money can buy. And he got himself in good shape. I'm not scared. If I'm walking down the street, you think I'm scared of Mark Zuckerberg? Like, I'm not looking at the ground like, oh, there's Mr. Zuckerberg. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know, but I don't know what Mark Zuckerberg's end game is in the mixed martial arts story. Maybe he, with all of his money, tries to start a jiu-jitsu promotion or something here in the future. Get behind. Maybe Dana wants to get him behind UFC jiu-jitsu and kind of what they've got going on there. But Eddie, what do you think about Mark Zuckerberg? And do you think that maybe he could fight in UFC's jiu-jitsu like a competition there?
How amazing is it? How amazing is it that you can give a guy a check and suddenly he's talking nice things about you? Dana White talks so much shit about Zuckerberg back in the day. And suddenly he's buddies now. Zuckerberg comes to the Apex and is like, oh, yeah, I want to do this. They're working with Meta, right? They do shit with Meta now. Okay. Yeah. They all that. Yeah. When you got money coming in from the guy you used to talk shit about, suddenly he's a badass. Suddenly he can fight. Yeah. You're going to speak really high about the guys that the big billionaires are around you. Like, pay attention, people. Pay attention. This is not just Dana White. This is everybody. Okay. People that keep putting this shit out like this are full of shit. Completely full of shit. I'm going to give you another one here in a second. Another Dana quote that he could shove right up his ass. Right. But this one is dumb. Bro, we saw you. We heard you talk shit about Mark Zuckerberg and all this other shit, right? Because he's a liberal or whatever it was. He's not. Probably.
Yeah, when him and the Elon thing happened, I think he was saying that he'd favor Elon or something. He was trying to get that going and call the guys.
It was worse. Well, back in the day, it was worse. Way worse, okay? But that's what happens when you start hanging out with billionaires and get all that. Again, it's not a bad thing to go hang out with billionaires. It's not a bad thing to get money from them, all right? But you look like a punk bitch when you change everything you said about that dude, and suddenly you're like, oh, no, he's so good. Oh, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. You guys can't fight him on the street.
Ask Dana White. Dana, do you think he'd kick your ass? Dana's a pro fighter. Dana's like a tough dude on the street. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you wouldn't go
boxed.
To Dana and be like, you're a bitch. But like, Dana ain't scared of Mark Wahlberg at the end of the day. Like, it's not. I don't know. It's not a big story or anything. But I was a little confused by the.
Did you see the other one?
No, I didn't.
It made me laugh my ass off because I watched part of the thing. His motherfucker came out and said he goes, everybody thinks I'm like far right up until the world lost his mind.
RNC twice.
Dude, I'm not really even that political. And so, of course, when I saw that clip, I was like, fuck out of here. I know exactly what picture I'm going to use. And I went, boom, I made this graphic. And I was like, Dana, we can see you.
Oh,
who are you trying to fool?
RNC. Yeah, that's funny.
I said, who are you trying to fool, dog? We can see you. All right. You know what this is? This is him trying to push back against the Luke Thomases of the world who are coming out saying the UFC is far right. I do not give a shit about the political leanings of not one goddamn person on this planet. Fuck everybody on that end, okay? Because I think both teams suck. Both y'all teams suck ass.
I watched MMA to get away from that shit.
Exactly. Why do I have to come on here and see, Donnie Diaper Pants over here fucking walking in doing his little jerk off dance? And why do I give a shit what Dana White thinks about politics? Don't give a fuck. Put on some good fights and shut the hell up. That's all it is. You know what I mean? It's silly. It's silly because this is the guy who used to say keep politics out of sports. And then he's just bringing it in like crazy. Like, dude, just say what you mean what you say. Otherwise, we just don't give a shit what you say.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's like you're friends with him. It's what people are going to say. It is what it is. In my opinion, instead of saying, oh, I consider myself a liberal, lean into it. Be like, I spoke at the Republican National Convention.
Tell me the truth. Just say it. Just say it.
People respect you. Like, they don't realize the majority of their fan base started and still is Midwest America. Like, beer drinking people that come home on Saturdays and want to watch the fights. That's what the really, wrestling fans and stuff like that. It's, I don't know.
This is the guy, Zuckerberg. Yeah. This is the guy that pulled all the Pelotons out of the UFC PI.
Yeah.
When they, who did they censor? They censored somebody. He goes, who did it? Peloton? All right. We're getting rid of Pelotons. It's this guy. Suddenly his balls are gone. What happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who has them? Hey, down or something.
You know who has his balls? Turkey Al-Sheikh has his balls in his little purse that he hides under his dress. Yeah. Clown ass.
Yeah, and maybe Donald as well. But those are some pretty powerful guys to.
Donald's got some emails to worry about right now, my boy.
All right, Eddie, we got to talk about this because we were talking about it leading up to the fight. RDR came out and said, I fucked up, right? I didn't do the right thing. I took the wrong opponent. Literally what we were saying before the contest even happened, we were saying this is a trap fight. This is a trap fight. This is a harder fight than what the odds makers and public think this is going to be. Brendan Allen comes out there and ends up winning the fight. RDR couldn't take him down, and on the feet, Brendan Allen was the more athletic, younger, quicker fighter, and that's what we ended up seeing on Fight Night. Well, RDR came out in an interview recently and stated just the same thing and said, maybe I shouldn't have took that fight. I got out a little bit ahead of myself. Maybe I should have waited for a title opportunity or one of these big names, coming off a loss like Strickland or Adesanya. And that's what we were saying the whole time, Eddie. I thought this was one of the biggest malpractices from an MMA manager's perspective. And I don't know who his management team is, but they did a terrible job throwing him in there against the worst stylistic matchup probable for him outside Fluffy Hernandez. For this guy right here, if you want him beat, you throw him to Fluffy Hernandez or you throw him to Brendan Allen in that division currently, in my opinion. That's exactly what happened. He didn't wait for the strikers like Adesanya and Strickland, which he would be favored in those matchups stylistically. And he went and he took a fight against somebody who has a chip on his shoulder and stylistically is a bad matchup for him, Eddie. What did you make of him, owning up to this? And do you think he should have saw it coming before it happened?
Well, he opened up a lot. That was submission radio, right? I think, but he opened up on a lot of stuff. Like he even said that in the graphic here. He's talking about he pushed his body too hard. He was going too much. He didn't rest at all. Like this is a world champion mixed martial artist, right? 2-division world champion, 1 championship. He knows how to work his body. I think when he came in, he's like, oh, well, I can beat these guys. Cool. Won a second fight. Oh shit, I could definitely beat these guys. Cool. Won a third fight. Oh shit, it is on. I can do this. At this point, I'm putting foot on the gas. I'm not waiting. I want to get to that title. And he damn sure looked like he didn't train. He looked like he was at quarter speed. That was bad. It was bad. So I'll give him props for being honest. Like because none of what he said sounded like an excuse. It sounded like he was literally just explaining what happened. And but it also opens up to me. I'm like, damn, Brendan Allen knew some shit. This dude knew that if he came in against that if RDR took that, he took the fight, especially short notice. But if he took the fight, he was gonna fuck him up, right? And it's just like, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, and the thing is I knew he was going to be gutted from this because he had some of the biggest momentum in the middleweight division that we've seen in a long, long time, right? Yeah. He beat Bo Nickel, the most hyped guy. Then he beat the former champion Robert Whittaker. And then you move back to fight the number 8 ranked guy in the rankings, and it just did not make sense. You don't go from fighting guys who are in the top 5 and former world champions, beating them, and then move back in the rankings against guys who are submission specialists when you're mainly a jiu-jitsu guy yourself. So I don't know. I feel bad for him. I feel gutted for him, but I saw it coming, and tough look for RDR.
It's tough. It's tough, and I want him to go away until he gets his health issues, all his health issues in check, and his body figured out. Because what we don't want to do is see him do that again, and he's gonna waste his career at that point. Because 2 losses in a row like that in the UFC, you start suddenly you're fighting. I didn't want to put names out there because I don't want to diss anybody, but the lower level guys.
Yeah. Well, Eddie, we do normally do pre-card ratings for some of these big pay-per-view cards, but we're going to save it here until after we break down these main card matchups along with some of the prelims as well. Eddie, Suzarkayev, the guy that's been hyped off the Dana White Contender Series, was the first fight of the night before they just added Borisov to the slate. But from top to bottom, Eddie, I think this is one of the deepest cards we've had in UFC history and one of the deepest cards we've had certainly in recent memory since UFC 300. But starting off in the main event, we have welterweight title implications here. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Islam trying to move up and be a 2-weight world champion, something that his trainer and mentor Khabib Nurmagomedov was never able to accomplish. For Jack Della Maddalena looking to make a defense of his welterweight title versus a former pound-for-pound number 1 fighter in Islam Makhachev, who no longer has that belt at 155. Ilia Topuria took that throne. But Islam trying to move up here to be a double champion at 170 pounds. Eddie, the thing for me in this matchup is the size. I don't know if Islam is going to be able to take Jack Della Maddalena down as well as he has some of his previous opponents, because he's recently had to fight twice Alex Volkanovski, who's 145 pounds and 5'6", and Charles Oliveira, and we saw how Ilia Topuria handled him. Topuria went in there and knocked out Volkanovski and Charles Oliveira very, very quickly and got them out of there. For Islam Makhachev, I don't think he's fought the level of competition recently that Jack Della Maddalena has, especially given this weight class. When we go back to the last matchup, a former training partner of Islam Makhachev, Belal Muhammad, the former champion, the man Jack took the belt from, Jack was able to defend takedowns, but he did get taken down a couple times, right? Do you think that Islam Makhachev is going to have more success with those takedowns than Belal Muhammad? Or is the size of Jack Della Maddalena, the hips, the good movement, is he going to be able to keep his back off the canvas on Saturday night?
For 3-4 minutes? Maybe. Islam Makhachev is look, for anyone that thinks Islam Makhachev just went, all right, cool, I'm gonna fight at 170 and just sat his ass down somewhere and train like half-ass, you're out of your minds. Look at the man's physical body looks different, and he didn't have to cut weight this time. That's the wild part. And he's still the country strong or Dagestani strong kind of guy. And it's I don't see why people say that. I don't understand it. Like, I get it. JDM fans really don't want to see Islam Makhachev as champion because they want to see JDM continue as champion. Mm-hmm. But this little motherfucker is not that much shorter. He's not smaller. They're literally eye to eye level. This whole to me, it's a fallacy that they're saying like, oh well, he's shorter. He's this and that by an inch. What? Oh well, JDM could stop takedowns. Okay, has he fought any Dagestanis? Belal Muhammad he ain't Islam Makhachev. But Islam Makhachev and I'll say it again, if they ever fight, Islam Makhachev is gonna fuck up Belal Muhammad, but they're not gonna fight. Okay, but Islam Makhachev is levels above, like by a lot above Belal Muhammad. He's gonna finish JDM. He's gonna get him. I don't see how he doesn't. All right, he's gonna get him. JDM hits hard, 100%. Islam's been cracked before. Totally understand that. All right, but for anyone that thinks that Islam Makhachev is just a wrestler, you clearly did not see all of Islam's early fights. This guy can strike, and he can strike with the best of them.
I think those are two great points, Eddie. One thing for Jack Della Maddalena, Basil Hafez. That was the matchup that I'm looking at. He was controlled on the ground for a large portion of that on short notice against a guy in Basil Hafez who's out of the UFC currently, but is a great jiu-jitsu guy and good grappler and good wrestler. He was taken down in that fight. For Islam Makhachev, his sole loss in mixed martial arts was to Adriano Martins. He caught a right hook from southpaw stance. That's Jack's best punch. He's knocked out about 4 or 5 guys with it. He has a very, very good right hand sitting there in the southpaw stance, and it's sneaky, and he catches guys with it. He's got some brutal highlights with it on the regional scene. Eddie, is there anything to that? You know, the punch that Islam Makhachev got caught with is Jack Della Maddalena's best punch. Do you think he can catch Islam Makhachev? And is the only way for him to win to knock out Islam Makhachev in some sort of fashion like that?
I mean, I don't see how you stop Makhachev from taking you down unless you put him to sleep, right? Now, I'm not saying JDM can't beat Islam. That left hook, we all know about that, and he's crazy with it. Okay, like the stance is gonna give Islam some fits for sure. But if you're gonna try and tell me that JDM has more ways to win this fight than Islam does, that's just not true. That's just not true. Islam's gonna be able to adjust. He's gonna be able to pivot game plans. Okay, and he's gonna have different ways. The thing is, can JDM come in and crack him and finish him? That's what it's gonna be. Now, could he win a decision? I mean, the odds on that have to be crazy. Battle. It's gonna be crazy, but I just see Islam having way too many weapons for JDM to beat him.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that Jack's got to knock him out. I think he's got to pretty much do exactly what Adriano Martin did to finish this guy. And honestly, with his gas tank, with his skills on the ground, and with his ability to stay in the fight standing, it's not like he's necessarily the greatest striker in the world, but he is very, very good for one of these Dagestani guys in the striking realm. So for Islam Makhachev right now, let's get the odds for you guys, for fight fans out there who are looking to wager on it this weekend. Islam Makhachev minus 275, the champion Jack Della Maddalena plus 225. This is one of those fights you don't normally see Islam Makhachev this close of a betting favorite. Normally he's sitting there at about 4-1. I think against Moicano he was 7-1. In one of his recent contests. So Islam Makhachev, who are you taking here, Eddie? I'm going to take him by decision. I think if you're a bettor out there and you're looking to, make a good bet, I think sub or points for Makhachev, or if you're on the side of Della Maddalena, I think he's got to win by knockout. But I'm going to go Islam Makhachev by points. All
right. Yeah, I'm going Islam. I'm going to go 4th round submission.
Definitely thumbnail, Jake. I don't even have
Yeah. No. The thumbnail, I fucked around. I don't mess with AI very much, right? But the thumbnail, if you guys look at the thumbnail, I put in there, make me a thumbnail for, Combat Connection with Brett Cagle and Eddie Law. I don't know how the fuck it found me online, but it looks almost fucking spot on.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yours doesn't. I was like,
doesn't look at all.
We got to get Brett to grow a beard. This is not going to work.
Yeah, for real.
But
I just shaved like 30 minutes ago.
But it was too damn funny not to put in there. I really was. So I was like, fuck it, I'm throwing it on to see what catches it. Good eye, Jake.
Yeah, so for Jack Della Maddalena, Eddie, where is your prediction going to go this weekend? We've kind of broke this one down saying a striker versus grappler on a macro scale here, but Islam Makhachev sub or points is the way I'm going. Which way are you going?
So Islam Makhachev sub 4th round. Was that crazy?
Hey, we're breaking them down right now, Jake, but your picks are really close to where my head's at as well, outside of the Dariush fight. But we'll talk about that, and I think that he could chin Benoit Saint-Denis in that matchup as well. But I like your picks, Jake. Thanks for tuning in, man. But Jack Della Maddalena, you said you're going with Islam Makhachev by submission?
4th round sub.
4th round sub. All right, we're going to move down to the co-main event here. Valentina Shevchenko takes on Weili Zhang as Weili Zhang moves up from 115 pounds to try and become a 2-weight world champion in females mixed martial arts. But to do so, she has to take out a legend in Valentina Shevchenko, a surefire future Hall of Famer in this promotion. Eddie, this is one of the biggest matchups that we've seen in women's mixed martial arts in many, many years. We had Cyborg take on Amanda Nunes. That's kind of what reminds me of this matchup right here. Two very talented and legacy behind both of these fighters coming into this matchup.
I like that. I had not thought about that. Valentina Cyborg comparison. Spot fucking on, dude. This is going to be a war. I mean, to me, these two girls are pretty evenly matched. Weili has really good grappling now. Great striking. Bullet was a great striker and developed really good wrestling. Like, this is going to be a fun scrap. I honestly have a hard time picking here because it's just like, do you go against the dominant Valentina, Bullet, who's been the champion for a long time, or Weili, who's coming up after being dominant at 115? Like, this is like dominant against dominant female. This is going to be wild.
Yeah, I know. And for Weili Zhang, she takes on all comers as a competitor, but she's going up against a very big girl in Valentina. I know it says it's 5'5" to 5'4", but she is going to be bigger than Zhang Weili on
100%.
For this one, Eddie, this is kind of how I see it, though, because for Zhang, she kind of had trouble with Rose Namajunas a couple times, right? And Rose Namajunas is a technical striker, but she's not as technical as Valentina. She's not as powerful as Valentina. She's not as explosive as Valentina, with all due respect to Rose Namajunas. But the way I see this is Zhang's going to move forward, look to put hands on Valentina with, the big hooks that she throws. We saw her in that fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She's as tough as they come. She'll bite down on the mouthpiece and move forward no matter what. But I see Valentina kind of picking her apart at distance, landing good shots to the body. She's going to have a long jab, and I just don't know if Zhang's going to be able to get inside on Valentina to land some of those significant strikes that she's accustomed to at 115 pounds.
No, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a difficult fight for both of them. More for Weili than Bullet, right? I think because your Bullet's gonna have to be. Bullet's got to bring the fight. Weili's got to bring the fight to Bullet. Well, bottom line, plain and simple. And what I like about Weili is she's not willing to just like stick to the game plan. Like, she's willing to change things up. Move things around, try different things and everything. She doesn't get shell shocked in there or anything. Bullet is the kind of fighter who can make you kind of like, light on your feet, and not in a good way, like straight up make you a little scared and everything. So it's
second guess yourself in there with her because the consequences are so high.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me it was ever since we saw Jessica Eye eat a freaking head kick, and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" Now Jessica Eye, that was a terrible fight, and she shouldn't have been fighting anything. But no, this is good. I honestly, I'm having a hard time making my picks because of the fact that this is to me it's a way closer match than a lot of people have it. Like, I don't know what do the odds say on this one.
So that's what I was going to say, Eddie. Pick 'em fight here, almost. Plus 110 for Zhang, minus 130 for Valentina. Very, very close here betting. I'm going to go with Valentina by decision, Eddie. But does, some of the matchups previously with Alexa Grasso, does anything give you cause for concern given that Valentina, she versus Taila Santos, she did look susceptible. Versus Alexa Grasso, she did lose the belt. So does anything give you cause for concern coming into this matchup with Zhang Weili, given the last couple of fights for Valentina?
I mean, look, anytime Valentina's ever lost, she never made an excuse. So she didn't even say I was hurt. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But I can't remember off the top of my head whether she ever made an excuse like, well, I was sick, I was hurt. I was
disagreed with the decision, but that's all she said.
Then that's fine. That's totally okay. She could do that, right? But it's hard to say that it's like, they're giving concern. Like, Nah, not really. Like it's just hard to, you know what I mean? It's hard to, look, Alexa, great striker, solid on the ground, right? She took it to Valentina. She got the win. She got the submission in that one, right? The first time around?
Yeah.
Right? Second fight, very evenly matched. She, Valentina disagreed with the draw. Cool. Third one, she was like, no, I'm going to make sure everybody knows. That's the Valentina I'm expecting. The one that after that fight was like, never again am I giving these girls a chance. I'm going to take them out. That's what I'm expecting on Saturday.
Me as well. I'm going to go with Valentina Shevchenko by decision. Money line for her is -130 if you're looking to bet on this fight on ESPN Bet or FanDuel or wherever you put in your bets. Which way are you going to go here, Eddie?
Weili by decision. Let's go.
Oh, okay. We're going to split here. All right. Well, one of us is going to win, but this is a close fight. And I think that this could very easily be one of those split decisions at the end that even when the fight's over, we don't know who's going to win.
Right. No, it's gonna be wild, dude. I could see it be. I could see it being a very close decision, like a split decision victory for somebody, and we'll get a rematch eventually. Because I actually wouldn't mind seeing a rematch if the fight ends up the way I think it's gonna go.
Yes, shit's so stagnant, kind of in that division right now.
Yeah.
That, this is kind of a fresh blood matchup that hopefully can entertain fans here maybe a couple of times. But Eddie, we got to move on and talk about guys in the welterweight division here who are two of the most talented in the whole world, 18-1 versus 18-0. Sean Brady has only lost to former champion Belal Muhammad, just went out there and finished the former champion Leon Edwards in the fourth round by submission, outstruck him in that fight 222-22, and then had 11 minutes of control with 5 takedowns over 4 rounds. Eddie, he put it on Leon Edwards last time out and, almost struck his claim here for a title opportunity coming off of that win, but he's going to face the guy with the most potential in this entire division, Michael Morales, coming from Ecuador, a knockout finisher, 18-0. This guy is an athlete, Eddie. If he grew up in America, he's a guy who would be a professional baseball player. He'd be a safety in the NFL. He'd be something here in America. He's an elite level athlete, but is he going to have the grappling to keep Sean Brady from putting him on his ass and grinding out control time and getting a decision win or a submission? I don't know. We haven't seen him tested necessarily with a guy who is as strong as Brady getting it to the ground. Now, did he just go and beat Gilbert Burns impressively? Yes, he did. But Gilbert Burns is great when the fight is on the ground. When the fight's on the ground, Gilbert Burns is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys we have seen in the UFC. But Gilbert at times has struggled getting the fight to the ground. And that's not something that Sean Brady has struggled with whatsoever. Eddie, I kind of look at this matchup differently than the Gilbert Burns matchup. I think Gilbert was just a little bit too old. I think he's had a lot of tread on the tire with the Chimaev fights and the other fights he's been in since that Chimaev fight. And for Sean Brady, he wants to get to that welterweight title opportunity, and he's got to go in here and he's got to be thinking to himself, put this guy on his ass, choke him out, and I've got a title sitting there waiting for me, and I'm the next challenger in this division. Eddie, which way are you going to go? I'm going to go with Sean Brady here. I favor the grappling advantage I think he's going to have in this one. But if he doesn't get that takedown in round 1, he's going to get smoked on the feet, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sean Brady is going to bore us to fucking death and win a fight. That's what's going to happen. But look, the last 3 fights, Kelvin Gastelum, he don't even want to be in there. Gilbert Burns, miles and miles and miles on those tires. Leon Edwards, the guy who needs to be yelled at by his coaches to go out there and do something.
Yeah,
I'm not shitting on Sean Brady whatsoever. I just think he's super talented. I just think he'd be an idiot to stand in front of Michael Morales and strike. You have to be stupid to let a young guy come in here, catch you with something, knock you out, take all your shine, because you know what the UFC is going to do? Younger guy, a lot more fun. We're bumping him. You're a gatekeeper. Oh, but I have all these fights. I should have a title shot by now. Sorry, buddy. Maybe you should have taken the fight, or you should have won. He's gonna go for the takedown. He's gonna take Morales down. Can Michael get back up? We'll find out. Because Sean Brady's going to chain him. He's going to keep doing it over and over until Michael Morales is so tired and so gassed and out of options that he just lets him do it. That's what's going to happen. Sean Brady by decision. Boring as shit, but it's going to happen.
That's what I've got too. Eddie, this gets real interesting, though, if he can't get that takedown.
Oh, big time. No. If he can't get that takedown, young boy's going to cook. We'll find out. But I don't see how Mike stops it. Like, dude, hey, Sean, you cannot lose to a guy that wears a dress because he lost a bet. You fucking win this shit. Come on, dog. Come on, man. I'm just messing.
Hey, he might be wearing heels in the streets of Ecuador, but he is a bad dead man when he gets in that cage.
I want to. These two need to make a bet before the fight. Loser wears a dress and heels to their next media day, next fight out.
All right, Eddie, we got to move on here to something that, in my opinion, is a striking clash between a guy in Carlos Prates who's creative, technical. We saw him do the spinning elbow in Chicago. And Leon Edwards, who, is historically one of the best strikers in this division, but he's in the back nine of his career. He just got beat by Sean Brady really bad, but this time they're throwing him to a guy in Carlos Prates who's not going to take him down. The last 4 or 5 matchups he's been in, the Kamaru Usmans, the Bilal Muhammad's, the Sean Brady's, he has had to deathly worry about that takedown in this fight ending because he's going to be put on his ass here and out of his realm. This time, he doesn't have to worry about that. He's back on the feet in a striking matchup. Do you think Leon Edwards can shock people here and beat Carlos Prates on the feet, being more technical, being more fluid, kind of old school Leon Edwards technical approach on the feet, kickboxing wise? Do you think he can get a victory here over Prates in a primarily striking matchup?
Guys and girls in the media room, if you're in the first 3 rows, prepare, because Carlos Prates is going to come into his post-fight press conference smoking cigarettes. Leon Edwards ain't got no chance. He ain't got no chance, bro. Like, Leon, here's what's going to happen, okay? They're going to start the fight. They're going to look nicely even. Leon's going to poke him on the eyeball. Because you know why? Carlos is going to get in his face, and Leon's going to be like, oh, shit. That's what's going to happen. And we might see our first point taken away from an eye poke because Herb Dean says they're finally going to do their job. Awesome. But I don't see how Leon wins. I think Leon's time is up, dude. I think it's over. I honestly think the days of Leon Edwards being considered elite in the UFC are done. And I think Carlos Prates is going to be the one that puts the stake down. And that's not a diss against Leon Edwards. Still one of the best strikers and fighters on the planet. But he's running into a guy who was embarrassed off a loss, came into Chicago, and made it right. Here's what it is.
Yeah. And Carlos Prates has been fighting really good strikers recently. He's had to go in there against Ian Gary. He's had to go in there against Jeff Neal and some guys. So it's not like he's fighting guys who can't crack. So for Carlos Prates, I don't know if he's going to be able to get Leon Edwards out of there. I think Leon is a type of guy that is, experienced enough, highly enough that he can survive the 15 minutes, certainly. Yeah. If Carlos catches him with something he doesn't see, he's going to knock out anybody on the planet. But for Leon Edwards, I think that he's too skilled, too technical to get taken out like that. I'm going to go with the decision for Carlos Prates.
Yeah, I'm going Prates for sure. Probably decision though. I'm probably going decision as well.
Yeah, I think this Leon, will be a really good fight though.
I think Leon's going to become the 170 gatekeeper, and Neil Magny might be out of a job on that end.
Yeah, there's a new guy in town. But all right, so we got to move on down the card here. Beneil Dariush in a lightweight matchup versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Eddie, my mind is telling me Benoit Saint-Denis all day, but he's the younger guy, he's aggressive. But then I sit there and I think, and I go, Beneil Dariush is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Beneil Dariush has the straight left hand, the same one that Dustin Poirier put down Benoit Saint-Denis with. There are skill sets in the Beneil Dariush's game that could exploit some of the weaknesses that Benoit Saint-Denis has. Benoit Saint-Denis is aggressive, but he moves forward with his chin up in the air, right? He is good on the ground, but he's good on the ground against guys who aren't necessarily the credentialed of black belt that Beneil Dariush is. Is Beneil Dariush too old to get this one done, Eddie? Is Benoit Saint-Denis going to go in there and overwhelm him with athleticism and youth? Or are we going to see the technical approach from Beneil Dariush, and is he cautiously going to snipe Benoit Saint-Denis and surprise some people? Because I have even Jake Noacker here. We respect Jake's opinion as much as anybody in the game. He's got Dariush beating Benoit Saint-Denis in this one. I don't know. I've got to go with the youth and athleticism of Benoit Saint-Denis at this point, just given that we've seen Beneil Dariush smoked in less than a minute in his last 2 contests, right? Arman Sarukian made him look really, really bad, and the Charles fight wasn't great either. So I got to go with Benoit Saint-Denis, but I would not be surprised if something happens here. Surprised.
Perilous says Prates with Mayorga in a smoking and karate chopping match. Bro, look, I'll tell you right now.
That's on my order for sure.
Yeah, but if Mayorga slapped Prates' girl in the ass, like, they ain't going to hold him back if they held back Sugar, all right? You tripping. Yeah. But that'd be hilarious as fuck. No, this fight, no. Beneil Dariush is incredibly talented. He's one of the best to do it and not get to a title shot. Let's put it that way. He's going to get smoked in this fight. Benoit Saint-Denis going to come in with the God of War shit. He's incredibly patient, but the one thing that Beneil Dariush cannot do that BSD is great at is when he smells blood, he tries to kill you. Beneil Dariush has hurt guys before, put him on skates, and he holds back. He's like, but what if, I don't know. That's how he's gotten beat a handful of times, right? BSD is not that way. BSD knows he hurt you, he's gonna try and kill you. All right, he's a psychopath when he gets in there. There's a reason he makes that fucking face when he gets in that shit and wins the fight. But end of the day, it's a tough fight for both guys. But I just don't see how BSD doesn't get it done. I think we can get a nice little war out of this one, though. I really do.
I think so too, and I think we might get a war because kind of the untechnicality of Benoit and his aggressiveness, right? If he goes out there though, and he leaves his chin out there,
he could get caught.
Is good enough to sleep him. He is good enough to put him out if Benoit makes one of those technical mistakes we've seen him make. But I think that given what happened in the Dustin Poirier fight, he's got to be minding his P's and Q's here against Beneil.
No, what I think BSD needs to watch out for is that overhand left. We haven't seen it land from Beneil very like lately. He still has it. Central car close. He still has that overhand left. But BSD, when he gets aggressive, he does, like you said, leave his chin out there, leave his head up like that. That overhand left can land. And in fact, I do expect it to be thrown quite a bit. And I think it will land eventually. It's can BSD take the shot or avoid it? But that's the fun part about this chess match. They're both good strikers. It's going to be fun. But I just see BSD getting it done. Decision. Yeah,
I like this matchup a lot. I think it's guys who have similar skill sets, but in a different time in their career. Benoit Saint Denis might be the Beneil Dariush moving forward here in the next couple of years. But Eddie, we have a very big fight card here that is as deep as they come. What fight do we need to talk about next? Rodolfo Vieira, Bo Nickel for sure. Bo Nickel trying to get back in there after losing to RDR. Rodolfo Vieira is not a guy he can just go in there and take down, though, because he's a jiu-jitsu world champion, one of the best guys we've had come over from the sport of jiu-jitsu. Two grapplers, Eddie, normally takes place on the feet. If that is what happens, who's striking do you like more?
Who's striking I like more?
I know. This is Ben Askren, Damian Maia level of what could happen here.
This is Ronda versus Ronda. If they were just a striking match. It's
going to be that, though. I don't think.
Yeah, no. Bo Nickel can't strike for shit. Rodolfo Vieira can't strike for shit. God, I hope they just bore the hell out of us with the grappling match. I really do. But why the hell is this fight the feature prelim? Shit, there's way better fights.
The one underneath it's a banger.
This is a banger. Blanchfield Cortez, better fight. Eat it. Argue with the wall. Malcolm Wallmaker, when is this guy not a show?
Yeah.
Hell, Dawkins Mearshart. You want to see a good grappling match? First of all, I got Kyle Dawkins in this one. But
I do too.
But Dawkins Mearshart, you want to see a good grappling match? Put those guys up there if you want to. Pat Sabatini, Chep is gonna fuck somebody up tonight or Saturday night.
He's an underdog in that one, Eddie, and I got hurt real bad going for Joe Anderson Brito in his last fight versus Sabatini. Yeah. Do you think Sabatini is going to be able to get Chepe Mariscal to the ground? Because I agree with you. I think Chepe gets him if the fight stays standing. But if Pat can get him to the ground, he's shown the backpack ability and kind of an Aljamain Sterling approach in some of this grappling.
Look, if he does, he better get it done. Because if Chepe gets him off his back or gets back to his feet, he's fucked.
He throws hands.
He throws mad hands. Borshev, Camino's a good fight. Cesar Kayev, this guy should be higher up on this thing. My point is this.
Deep.
This fight sucks. Bo Nickel, Rodolfo Vieira is an ass fight. That is the go take a piss and come back. Go get a beer. Go pick up a pizza, guys.
Bo
Take
Nickel
your kids outside.
Rodolfo Vieira,
K1 legends. Kindergarten legends, yeah. But they could probably beat up a few kindergartners. But look, bottom line, all jokes aside, Bo Nickel has this fight is way more important for Bo Nickel than Rodolfo Vieira. Vieira's old. He's been around for a long time. Bo Nickel, he loses this fight. I don't want to see you ever again in the UFC, my boy. Go hit a PFL for some sure. Go do that RAF or whatever wrestling they're doing, or go do something else. Because if you cannot strike at least with a guy like Rodolfo Vieira and win it that way, with Rodolfo Vieira, bro, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. You are all hype. Now, if he comes out and the fight ends up being like you say it is, right? Because I do believe you're right. They're going to cancel each other out. Bo Nickel will take him down. Rodolfo put him in trouble, and Bo will be like, oh, maybe I don't want to be down here. Let's just strike with him. Cancels out, and they strike. That's what's going to happen. If Bo can't get him out of there, younger, faster, more athletic, okay? If he can't get Rodolfo Vieira out on the feet, my guy, what are we doing here?
Yep, I think so, exactly, Eddie. And the first thing you said is exactly the reason why I'm going to pick Bo Nickel. He has more to lose in this match.
Way more.
If he loses here, he's like you said, they're going to kick him to the end of the road. You lost to these guys, and you were supposed to be this hyped prospect. I'm sorry, you're out of here for what we're paying you and for the attention you get. So I think he's in a tough spot. And also, Eddie, not even the UFC get him out of there. Bo Nickel, as a competitor, this guy thinks of himself as, one of the great athletes of our country. And if he goes in here and loses twice in a row, it's like, what am I doing here? And we've seen that. Guys like Kevin Jack, we talked about it last. These Olympic level guys, they don't stick around very long when they lose.
No,
I mean, how long we're on to stick around? Hector Lombard went on a streak of about 30 fights in a row, but I think he got so good that he was just like, I'm going to stick around here and keep doing this. But even when he started going downhill and losing, he switched over to other sports and stuff. So, I don't know.
You know who's watching this fight going, you better not fuck this up for me, Bo? Gable Stevenson.
He is.
Every other wrestler, that Olympic wrestler that wants to come to the UFC, they're like, man, if Bo gets smoked and embarrassed, the UFC is going to be like, do we want to pick up another one of these guys?
Why are we paying these guys more? They can just come on our contender series.
Exactly. So I expect Bo Nickel to win this fight. I expect him to win it. And if it's on the feet, I expect it to be a knockout victory. Not a decision, not a pitter-patter one, I'm just going to hold him down and hump him on the ground. If it stays on the feet, I expect a knockout victory by Bo Nickel. Anything outside of that, waste of time.
Yeah.
And Roman Kopylov, RoboCop should be the freaking feature prelim. That is a banger of a fight. Holy shit.
It is. And I think that it's put up or shut up time for Bo Nickel, just like you said.
100%.
Let's see something on the feet here. The Val
100%.
Woodburn fight was great. You did what you had to do with that one. Let's see something similar here. But Gregory Rodriguez here in RoboCop and Kopylov. We'll get to that in a second.
Just want to talk about just very quickly about this fight. Very quickly, okay? And, I was about to say that shit. Nickel's a delusion as Colby, 100%. But in my mind. But no, this fight is not being talked about enough. It is not being talked about enough. You're talking about two girls that are still contending. I get it. Women's MMA. Shove it up your ass, okay? They are still two of the best females on the planet. Tracy Cortez, she's become this girl that doesn't want to do media, but she's still nice about it. Everything just gives you short answers, doesn't give you anything. Back in the day, she was open, tell you this and that. People took advantage of it. She protected her peace, which is what you should do, Tracy. Good for you, and everything, and all that. Erin Blanchfield, the grappler who hates doing media, gives you short ass answers, makes it clear she won't want to talk to you, but she goes in there and fights, and she's really good. These are two high level ladies who are going to come in with damn near the same record. All right. And both of them, look, Tracy don't want to give up that advantage she had from the Invicta fight. And Aaron wants to get that fight back. If you don't think these two are going to come in here trying to kill each other, you're out of your mind. There is plenty on the line for both girls, including moving up to a possible title shot sooner than later for the winner. And the loser gets put on that ski slope all the way to the bottom. Because at this point, at 125, if Weili wins it, for example, it's wide open, right? Yep. If Bullet wins it, for example, or if Bullet wins it, retains, these two girls are going to have a hard time getting a fight.
Well, Eddie, this is 2 versus 4, right? And we've got the champion and the girl coming up from the division below who is the champion. We got Mano Ferrote, who just lost and isn't going to get a title opportunity against Valentina again.
This could be
number one contenders matchup. This determines the number one contender in my mind.
On the prelims.
Yeah.
On the
but it goes to the depth of the card. The card is I'm so excited.
Agreed.
I haven't been so excited. But we got to talk a little bit about RoboCop and Kopylov. I know some bettors out there are going to want to hear our breakdown on that one. Yeah. For RoboCop, he's coming off the win over Jack Hermanson. He almost killed a man. But Roman Kopylov was in there against a guy stylistically on the feet who's similar to Rodriguez and Paulo Costa and looked awful. We both picked Kopylov, and we got burnt bad in that one, thinking he was going to look more technical on the feet. Paulo Costa put more volume on him, and we didn't see the same output from Kopylov that we've seen in the past, right? When he can sit there technically and he can read you and he can throw that body kick and he can get you out of there and snipe you, he's very good. But when you're putting him on the back foot, you're putting more output on him, and he's having to think about the volume that's coming at him. And in the case of Paulo Costa, he's a guy who hits hard. So's Gregory Rodriguez. So I don't know. I know Gregory's going to put him on the back foot. He always moves forward in his fights. He's seek and destroy. But is Kopylov going to be able to be the quicker, more technical guy, get in and out of range? Or are we going to see Gregory Rodriguez go in there, be the RoboCop, and get a violent finish? I really don't know which way I'm going in this matchup. What do you think about this one?
Roman Kopylov, look, the way I hope the fight goes is that they both go, look, let's see who's the better striker. Let's fucking go. Let's throw down, right? But if Roman Kopylov eats a couple of shots, like clean shot from Gregory Rodriguez, we can see him become a wrestler real quick. So what Roman Kopylov needs to do is be the more technical striker. Move your feet, find different angles. Don't be in that spot right there. As soon as you strike, get the fuck out of dodge and then come back in. Because that Gregory, dude, we've seen Gregory knock dudes out with counters all the time, right?
Yeah.
We know what to expect from Gregory Rodriguez. We know it. RoboCop is RoboCop at all times, day and night, fucking no month, winter, summer, doesn't matter. Roman Kopylov, he's kind of showed us that he's still trying to grow, and he's made mistakes doing that. Totally, right. But he's coming off a loss. So now this is a bigger fight for Roman Kopylov and RoboCop, right? Yeah. He's got to come back, show that wasn't who he really is, but it's also an opportunity for him to kind of catch RoboCop off guard. RoboCop's coming in with the same thought you just said, right? Paulo Costa, volume. All right, cool. We'll put it on this dude. We're going to get him. Roman Kopylov has a chance now to be like, he thinks I'm going to do that again. He thinks I'm not going to count on when he comes in. I'm going to be ready this time, and I'm going to crack him. So this is a lot of questions in this fight, but I'm excited as shit about it. I want to see this fight bad.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one too. I thought you broke it down really well. For Roman Kopylov, this is his first opportunity to go up and be a legit title contender.
Yeah.
Right? He just had Paulo Costa. That was an opportunity. He's getting thrown another good matchup here with Gregory Rodriguez. But for Rodriguez, this might be the last opportunity that he has to go up and be a title contender in his own right. He has not had one of those big top 5, top 10 matchups yet. Right. But if he gets through Roman Kopylov and can get in there and sub him or knock him out, I think we're going to see RoboCop in a fight that we haven't seen him in a long time. He did lose to Jared Cannonier when he moved up the rankings, but he has not been in a big fight since then. So, Eddie, I'm going to take Roman Kopylov based off what we've seen Gregory Rodriguez, based off what we've seen recently. Roman Kopylov struggled against Paulo Costa, and Paulo Costa does not present the same jiu-jitsu problem that Gregory Rodriguez does. You just brought up that if Gregory does get hit in the face or, hit on the feet and stung, he could very well elect to take this fight to the ground, where Roman has struggled against grapplers at times as well. So, Eddie, I'm going to go with Gregory Rodriguez. I think he's got more ways to win, like you said about a fight we had here we were talking about recently. I think he can take this fight to the ground and maybe grind out a decision win. And honestly, based on what we saw last time, he might be able to catch Roman Kopylov on the feet.
Yeah, no, I got Kopylov. I got Kopylov coming in trying to show like, hey, that's not who I was, right? And catching RoboCop off guard. I believe this was going to happen. And then Kopylov can go back to Russia and go do some more commercials. I asked him about that. Was it last year at an Apex card? I was like, "Do you doing commercials now? Like, I didn't realize you weren't like. I thought all the Russians were a stone face series." And he cracked a smile. He's like, "Oh, well, I just having a little bit of fun." And I'm like, "All right, my boy. All right, go get you some of the AT&T money, my guy. Let's do it."
So moving on down the card here, Eddie, what was the fight before Blanchfield and Cortez? Is that Wellmaker?
That's yeah. Wellmaker had
and Wellmaker's got some big power. Knocked out Cameron Simons. Knocked out a lot of dudes recently. The former, I believe he was a welder, correct?
Yeah, he was a welder.
Tight-fitting welder. What do you got for me on Cody Haddon coming from Australia here?
He's an Aussie. He's tough as shit. All those Aussies are fucking nuts. First of all, like, did you see that thing with? I know we're getting off topic with it, but very quickly, you see that thing with Robert Whitaker? He's on that show, and
he's like sitting on
dude.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. It looks dope.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I don't want to break it for you, but what he did in that 30-second clip was just like as Aussie as it fucking gets. Like as Aussie. Now, like it was. Oh goddamn it! I don't want to ruin it for you. But either way, go watch the clip because it's fucking awesome.
What's the name of the show?
I don't remember, but the clip is everywhere. You know what? I'll send you the clip because Matt Davies sent it to me on Instagram. Yeah, I'll send it to you after the show. But it's a great clip, right? But that is what I see when I think Aussies. I think Robert Whitaker. I think Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's New Zealand, I think, right?
Yeah.
But either way, I still think those kind of guys, right? Because they're close enough right there. Volk. I think Volk, right? Tough motherfuckers, all right? And so I think it's going to be a tougher matchup than I think everyone, and not technically I can't give you anything because I don't really know a lot about Cody Haddon, admittedly. But I do know Malcolm Wallmaker is a tough motherfucker, and he's a happy guy. And guys that walk in happy, fight good. That's how it goes. So I expect Wallmaker to win, but I expect it to be very difficult. Yeah.
This might be, like you're saying, Wellmaker's ran some guys over recently. This might be a little bit closer.
You're not running any Aussies over. Aussies are unrun overable. They're fucking nuts. honestly, some of the coolest people to hang out with. Shout out Matt Davies. Every time I see Matt Davies and we have a beer and shit, I always have a big goddamn time.
Yeah, he is a good guy. Kyle Dawkins, Gerald Meerschaert. Big favorite here for Kyle Dawkins, 500. 5-1. for him. He's looked good since coming back to the UFC, right? And I think he's going to be better than Gerald Meerschaert striking. And on the ground, I think he's going to be able to be good enough. And Kyle Dawkins does not look like that anymore. They have the fighter picture up there. He's completely changed his body. He does look like a legitimate athlete moving forward. But for Gerald Meerschaert, right, when he gets a fight to the ground, when he gets you into rounds 2, 3, and can make this a gritty, dirty fight, that's where Gerald does his best work. But I think Kyle Dawkins is too technical on the ground to let him get to there. He's got good cardio, and I think he's better on the feet. So I'm going to take Kyle Dawkins in this one by knockout.
Dude, I'm taking Kyle Dawkins by knockout too, honestly. Go by finish, either way he wants it. But no, I just think I was trying to figure out if it's him or his brother Chris as the police officer. It's Chris.
His brother, yeah.
But can you imagine running into a Dawkins and trying to talk shit to the guys like, you know what, I pulled you over? Fuck you. Blah. Like it's fucking that would be fucked. Anyway, no, Kyle Dawkins, dude. Call Dawkins all day. And again, I love Gerald Meerschaert. I still want to go to a Gerald Meerschaert jiu-jitsu. Exactly, dude. Fucking hey, dude, what's his name? Who's Darwin? What's his first name?
Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. Jesus Christ. Steve Irwin. Steve Irwin got hit by a fucking stingray, and he was like, "It's not its fault." This motherfucker, like, rest in peace, and awful way to die. But goddamn, it was crazy. No, these Aussies are crazy, dude. I love Aussies.
All right, we both got Kyle Dawkins in this one. Moving down the card, Eddie, what's the fight right before this one?
Sabatini
and Chepe, we talked about that one a little bit. Angela Hill and Fatima Klein. Angela Hill doesn't have the most impressive record in the world, but she is a tough out. I see this one probably going to decision. She tests good girls a lot. She's kind of like the Neil Magny of this weight division.
This massive matchup or opportunity for Fatima, and I expect her to take advantage, to be honest with you. And then this is probably the fight on the prelims that I'm looking forward to the most. Eric McConico is an MMA lab guy. One guy, he helps everybody. He's a great dude and everything. Finally gets in the UFC, but he's running into a buzzsaw. But this guy's, I will say, I think he's better than Hamzat, personally.
Really? You think so?
I think he's better than Hamzat, 100%. 100%. Different skill sets. Different skill sets.
Well-rounded?
But more well-rounded. I think, you know what I mean? Like, overall. And again, he's a psychopath. Now, please, for the love of God, Susurkayev, take it easy. All right, don't get crazy and do a fight every other week. Get yourself fucked up and sick, and then constantly injured, and never able to fight.
He almost bit off more than he could chew against Tom Nolan because Tom Nolan can crack, right? And he didn't really know much about Tom going in, and he stayed on the feet a little bit too long. Then he figured out, all right, this kid's a fucking athlete, and he can hit hard. Let's take him to the ground, and he had better work there. But to your point, Eddie, I think he is as well-rounded of a prospect as we have right now.
Very much. No, he's going to come in, he's going to test McConical on the feet, and then he'll take him down and beat him up and finish this one in the second round.
Yeah. So that's the fight card we got for you guys this weekend. UFC 322. You're going to have to catch it on Saturday. Last thing from me and Eddie. Eddie, we do the pre-card rating. I'm going to give this a 9.5. This is one of the best cards that we have of this calendar year. One of the best cards since UFC 300. And I am hyped for this matchup this weekend. Khabib will be in the corner of Islam Makhachev, looking to coach him to a victory and a double champ status that Khabib himself was never able to do. I'm going to give it a 9.5. Eddie, where are you at for this weekend?
I'm going solid 9. So pre, obviously. Afterwards, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll figure it out afterwards.
If it's a shit card, we'll give you the truth, all right? Yeah. But no, 9, solid 9. The matchups are good. Every fight has an intriguing storyline to it. Even the Borshchev fight that just came in, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to go to sleep early on Friday night because I'm trying not to be tired on Saturday. I got to be on my shit. 100%.
Yeah, watch it from fight 1 to fight 13. So, fight fans, that's what we got for you this weekend. We will be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We will bring you any breaking news and instant analysis from UFC 322 or anything that comes up in the mixed martial arts world after the pay-per-view this weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Bradley Beal, you talked all that shit. Now you're out for the season. Eat it.